All right, the first exercise in the complex will be a half seated press. The goal here is to do an overload movement, a movement where you use more weight than during a regular shoulder movement. So it will wake up the nervous system and allow you to be stronger in the next movement. So you start the bar so that it's just above your head. So you sit back and bring the bar just a bit further forward so that you can be in line with your forehead. Right. And you contract your traps and you press the barbell up for 5 reps. Don't move your head, keep your head stable, always look forward. Good. Good. 2 more. Up. Good. Good. Here the key in this movement is not to try to press the barbell up, it's to try to push yourself down into the bench, which is true for every single pressing movement you do. And even though the weight's fairly heavy, you always try to accelerate it as much as possible. The weight might not move fast because it's heavy, but you're trying to move it fast. And that's true for every single exercise in the complex. Always try to move as fast as possible. The weight on the bar will dictate the amount of speed you're producing. Now we're switching to standing military press. You can also do it seated, but I prefer standing because we have the push press afterwards and it's a more natural way of doing things. So I want you to rack the bar just like you would a push press. So remember what I told you there. It's not here. You set up the bar under, you create a shelf with your shoulders. So that's the starting position. And you do a military press from that position. Shoulder from up. You just do like this. Here. Exactly. See, there's a shelf here. And then you shoulder press. And get back in the same position. Good. Flare the lats. Good. Shoulder shelf. Good. Good. One more. Shoulder shelf. That's it. Good job. Third exercise in the complex will be the push press. So you'll use the same weight you use for military press, but use a powerful leg drive and do a push press with it. So shoulder shelf, leg drive, and push press. Good. Shoulders. Elbows forward. Shoulders. Shoulders. Good. That's it. Good. Shoulder shelf. Up. Good. Shoulder shelf. Good. 2 more. Shoulder shelf. Last one. That's it. Next one's going to be shoulder press for speed. So use a fairly light weight, and you're going to press overhead, same position, good, and press overhead, good, and then you bring it back down. It's going to be that as fast as humanly possible for 20 seconds. So there's no set number of reps, it's just a time zone. So when we start in 3, 2, 1, go. Speed, speed, speed. Halfway done. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, speed, 4, 5, 3, 2, that's it. So that's the speed dumbbell work. Use a weight that you can probably get like 30 reps, like 50% of your maximum. Doesn't really matter. Since we're focusing on speed, acceleration, if you're going fast, even though the weight's not that heavy, it will have a training effect. The length, the duration of the set, will depend on the training effect you want to create. If we're focusing more on body composition changes, we'll go with 20 to 30 seconds. If it were more for strength, it would be for 10 seconds, roughly 10 to 12 seconds, not to switch energy systems pattern. The fifth exercise in the complex, now we move from the slowest one with the heaviest down to the fastest one, which is this one. It's going to be a push press throw. So you take the ball here, shoulders forward, and using your legs and your arms, do the push press, throwing the ball as high as possible. Don't try to catch it, let it fall on the ground. Good. Move a bit forward. Good. Strong drive. Up. Better. Good. The natural tendency and problem here would be to throw like a basketball player, because you always have one dominant hand, so you always try to go like this. Really focus on using both arms equally. Better. One more. Good. Here it's anywhere between 5 and 10 throws. You stop when you feel that you can't go any higher. So now, keeping up with the front overhead pressing movement, we're going to do like an overhead pressing with the sled. So the body position we want is a linebacker position. So here, torso at 45 degrees, and then you're going to push toward your eye level.
Explosive or
slow movement? Good question, because if you were training more for performance, we use heavier weight and explosive movement. This is for strength and endurance. So it's going to be slower movement, really focusing on a muscle contraction and going up. That's better. You were leaning more forward. That's perfect. Good. If it moves sideways like that, it's because you're pushing more with one side. Weight on the front of your feet. 2 more. That's it. We'll start the bench press complex by ramping up on the bench press, which will activate the whole movement pattern. Contrary to the deadlift movement pattern, we don't have a really technical exercise like we did for the power clean, for example. So we only have to activate the bench press, and we can move up straight to the circuit, which it will be top half bench press, then medicine ball chest row, plyo push-up, and speed dumbbell press. In powerlifting, they're taught to bring the shoulders back and down to take advantage of the bench shirt. And since the bench shirt is pretty tight, it stabilizes the shoulder, so it's not dangerous. With a regular bench press without a shirt, taking that position can hurt the shoulder, and it's not as mechanically efficient. So what we want to do is contract the traps while doing the bench press. So when you set up, as you grab the bar, you squeeze the traps trying to bring your shoulders to your head, and then you press from that position, like this. Keep the traps shrugged, and then you press. The traps basically is the foundation from where you push on. You're gonna start with that weight again, just to get the proper groove of the position. That's why the metal militia guys, which are bench press specialists, always do tons of traps work during the bench press day. Up, good. Shoulders tight, traps tight, good. 2 more. 1 more. That's it. Explode from the bottom. Hop. 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 1 more. Shoulders tight, traps tight, good. 2 more. 1 more. That's it. Traps tight. Chest up. Up. Good. Now we're going to start the complex, which will start with the top half bench press. Okay. Chest out, traps tight. Good. Traps tight. Chest out, push down. Good. Traps tight, chest up. Alright, traps tight. Chest up. That's it. Alright. Now, normally, this kind of rep, we don't do the grinding reps, but with the partial, you can do that. Since it's just only half of the range of motion, it won't fatigue the nervous system as much. So it's okay to grind that last rep here, but never attempt a rep that you can't complete. Okay. You have to know that you're gonna get it, even if it's gonna be hard. Here we can do that. Second exercise in the complex, it'll be the strength movement. So we did the overload, it'll be the strength. So regular bench press, traps shrugged, explode from the bottom, 3 to 5 reps. Just like with the Olympic lift, you should be aggressive. When your hands touch the bar, become down. Just become aggressive. Stay tight, traps tight. Up, push yourself down. Up. Up. Good, one more. Up. More. See, normally three would have been good. The fourth one was not as ideal. So 3 reps would be good. As long as you get 3 to 5, that's fine. It's a strength movement. The third one, chest throw. So you take a linebacker stance, and from that you throw as far as you can. Then you run after the ball. Take it again. You throw it back, and you go back and forth like this. It's a good overall warm up, and for the purpose of fat loss, it's also good, and also builds power. The weight of the ball should be anywhere between 15 and 25 pounds or 30 pounds, or roughly 10% of your body weight. So if you threw 35, then 25, that's roughly in a good range. Okay. Obviously, lazy people will try not to throw far, so they don't have to run as far. Always try to throw as hard as you can. Ha! Good. Good. The next one is going to be the plyo push-up. So you put your hands on the bench and you try to project yourself in the air. And you catch yourself and you project back. It's 5 to 10 reps, but again, don't count reps. If you feel that you don't push as hard as you could, then you stop the set.
Okay.
Good. No pause at the bottom. Explode. Good. One more. That's it. Good. It's important not to pause at the bottom because we want to learn to use a stretch reflex.
Okay.
So we be explosive. As soon as you hit the bottom, bam. So the fifth one is going to be speed dumbbell press. So again, 20 seconds, you do as many reps as you can. So it's focus on accelerating the weight as much as possible. 3, 2, 1, go. Halfway done. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, that's it. Again, the weight should be fairly light, roughly 50% of your maximum, and you really focus on accelerating the weight as much as possible. All right, the strength endurance movement, chest press, so still linebacker stance, and now you're pushing slightly downwards. Good. 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 Stay strong. Good. Have 3 more. 2 more. Last one. That's it. Good. Most of the work that I personally do for biceps when I do them is on the preacher bench, because you can't use other body parts, so it really focuses on the bench, on the biceps. Here, the bicep, it responds well to fatigue, loading again. So instead of using several exercises, because you can use, if you want, supersets, you can use various techniques, rest pause, whatever. One technique we're going to demonstrate here is Kevin's going to be doing preacher curls. Once you reach a level where he can't complete a good rep with some acceleration, you will do top partials. When he can't do that, you lower the weight at the bottom and do bottom partials. It's basically just a way to increase the amount of work he's doing during that set. There's nothing, to be honest, special about these techniques. It's just a way to increase the amount of loading, the workload that the muscle is getting. Partials. bottom partials. Good. That's it. So you can also use techniques such as rest pause. Rest pause means that you're doing your reps. When you can't do anymore, you put the bar down, rest for 10 seconds, then try to get a few more reps. Rest the bar down, try to get a few more reps. This is just a way to extend the amount of work you're doing. There's nothing magical, it's just doing more work. Now when the bicep work is done here, we do like 4 to 6 sets again. Next thing, we want to work on the forearms and brachialis. So we'll use either a reverse curl variation, either on a preacher bench, standing on an incline bench, or we're going to use a hammer grip movement, like hammer grip dumbbell curls, hammer grip on a preacher bench, whatever. We're going to use here hammer grip dumbbell curls. Now the brachialis responds well to holding stuff in place. So I'm going to ask Kevin to do a full rep, then lower the weight in 90 degrees and just hold it there for 1 second before going down. Hold and hold, down. Hold and down. Hold and down. Hold and down. Good. Keep going. Two more. That's it. Again, the pause here is nothing magical. It's just a way to increase the amount of work the muscle has to do, but we do so by working the muscle for a function it's built for doing. So by adding an isometric holding action, we're working along with the muscle, not against it. A second way we could do that is called a constant tension curl. So Kevin's going to pick the dumbbells, going to start the dumbbells in the 90 degrees position, curl, and the other arm is here, curl, using a hammer grip. This is a second technique. You don't have to use both, but it's two techniques you can use to extend the amount of workload you're doing. So that technique creates fatigue and also increase the amount of time the muscle is spent contracting. For the foundation muscle, fatigue is a key. That's it. So we would do again 4 to 6 sets of the brachialis or forearm movement. Then that would conclude the strength portion of the workout. Next, we would have the higher volume stuff, because that's fairly low volume for these muscles, but these muscles need volume to grow. So we would add volume either by doing eccentric less training or a circuit. So we're going to demonstrate some form of eccentric less training for back and biceps. For the squat movement pattern, we're going to ramp up on the front squat first to the weight we're going to be using. Front squat, I really dislike people who use the cross arm position, because first of all, you're not stable and you have a tendency to round up the upper back and drop the bar forward. So what you'll do, if you can't use a clean grip, we're going to use straps, which are going to loop around the bar and use the straps as handles. So you loop the straps around like this. You're going to take a good shoulder shelf position. Three reps. Good. That's it. For the front squat, the key is when you are in the low position and you start to go up, kick your elbows up. Most people will tend to round the back here. As soon as you start to go up, bring this upward more. Elbows up. Good. Start with the complex squat movement pattern with the top half squat. So we want to use roughly a 135 degrees knee angle. So basically what I call a quarter squat, or the linebacker position for football players. Feet slightly wider. Good. 5 reps. Good. Head straight. Last one. That's it. See, this was fairly easy. So during a circuit, since this was fairly easy, you could have probably 25 pounds per side and 5 plates on a third circuit. You can progress from one circuit to the other on the 2 main strength movement, which is top half squat, then front squat. You can add weight gradually. The second exercise will be the front squat, or 3 to 5 reps. So we'll always shoot for 5, but if you feel that your technique is breaking down or you don't have the strength to do more, then you stop.
Okay.
As long as you get 3, it's fine.
Okay.
Chest out and bring your elbows up when you squat up. 5, 4, 3. One more. That's it. Good. The third exercise in the complex would be the power clean from hang, so you can use your straps also. When your hands grab the bar, become dumb. Just think violence. Explode as quick as possible. Up. Violent. Come on, explode. Up. Better. Stay tight. Good. 2 more. Up. That's the best one. Last one. Good. Finished off strong. That 1 rep where you were.
Yeah.
That's one. That allows me to do give an important point with the power clean, is that people think the only thing it's good at is for increasing power output. For football players or hockey players or any athlete involved in a contact sport, it teaches you to absorb force. Basically, if you're power cleaning roughly the weight that your opponent is, when you catch the bar, you have to absorb its force. So it's like you're absorbing an impact from a player. So that increase your power and also your ability to absorb power. It's a good teaching exercise and building exercise for that purpose. Next exercise in the complex will be the jump squat. Okay. We use roughly 10-20% of what you use on the front squat. So roughly 25-30 pounds. So you're gonna hold the dumbbell to your chest here.
Okay.
And you jump up as high as possible on a platform. You're gonna do between 5 and 10 jumps. And if you feel that you're not jumping as high as you could, you stop the set.
Okay.
Always shoot for performance, don't really count reps.
Okay.
Up, don't squat down too low, just quarter squat, and bang. Up, good, better. Up, one more. Up, that's it, good job. With the top half squat, we did the overload strength. With the front squat, it's the strength. With the power clean from the hang, it is strength, speed. Jump squat, speed, strength. Now we have the ballistic or explosive movement, which is gonna be just vertical jump series. So you jump up, and as soon as you land on the ground, you jump back up again.
Okay.
The goal is still to jump as high as possible, but we want as little ground contact as possible.
Okay.
So we shoot for 10 reps.
10 reps.
And don't forget that arm speed contributes to 10% of your jumping height. Good. Two more. That's it. Good. So that takes care of the strength portion of the circuit.
Okay.
You have the strength endurance portion, which is going to be the crawler walking backwards.
Okay.
To work on the quadriceps. Right, it's going to be sled walking backwards in a crouched position. Stay low to work on the vastus medialis. That's it, and you walk back. Good. Try to fully extend your knees. Good. Stay low. That's it. Good. Normally we start a complex by doing at least the second movement first, the strength movement, which is the deadlift, just to warm up the movement pattern. And since this one has a complex movement, power clean, we're going to also warm up on this one. So what we're going to be doing is start roughly with 60% of your maximum and work up to the max, the weight you're going to use for the first complex. We're gradually adding weight until we feel that the weight is the proper one for the start, which should be roughly 80% of your maximum. So we're going to be doing here only 3 reps. The sets normally during the complex are 5 reps, anywhere between 3 and 5, but we don't want to fatigue yourself for nothing. So just do 3 reps, then we're going to add weight. Back, good. Always keep your head stable, don't move your head. Good. One more. That's it. Really want to emphasize really pulling backwards, almost losing your balance backward. One little tip you can do if you want to improve that, take a 10-pound plate here with the front of your feet on the plate here. Okay. So that would switch the center of gravity backwards. It will help you pull back. Obviously you bring the barbell closer to you. Keep the lower back tight at all times. Good. Keep your head straight. Back tight, lower back tight, that's good. Better, good job. Obviously when you're going to be doing the circuit, we won't use the plates because we won't have any unnatural movement at first, but it's something you can do with all your lighter sets to practice the proper pulling movement. Okay. It's especially important for guys who are tall like you. The more backward you pull, the stronger you're going to be. So now we're going to do the same thing for power clean, gradually working up in weight. So same thing here, just 3 reps. 3 reps. Remember, explosive, and at the top, try to rack like you rack the push press. Okay. So here, then.
From the end?
Yes. Up, jump, jump, jump. Focus on speed. Up, better. One more. Up. Good. Really focus on exploding with your legs up. Okay. And also, don't pause at the bottom. Up. Jump, jump, jump. Don't try to squat under, try to jump up. That's it. Up. Much better. And by the way, on that last rep, you lost your balance backwards. It's actually a good thing. That's because of the shoes you have. If you had Olympic lifting shoes like I do, it's a solid sole, so you wouldn't like crush your shoes at the catching position. Since you lost balance backward, it's because you're fully extended and the weight was still on the back of your feet when you catch the bar, when you cut the bar, and your shoes like crunched, so you lost balance. But it actually means that you pulled correctly. Okay. Up. Up. More speed. Up. That's good. Now we're going to start the circuit with the overload movement. We start with the heaviest movement, which is also the slowest one because it's heavy, but you always try to lift as fast as possible. The speed of the movement will only depend on the weight used. Then we move on to the strength movement, which is the deadlift. Then we move to power clean, which is slightly faster. Then we have the jump deadlift, which is even faster, and then the broad jump, which is even faster. Okay. So we moved from the heaviest and slowest down to the lightest and fastest. The bar on the top half deadlift should start at knee level or maybe just a bit higher. Most people tend to start the bar too high at the mid thighs. It doesn't work on the deadlift. It's not specific enough. You want at least that range of motion. And you still pull back. Imagine that you're pulling like a regular deadlift. Good. Keep it straight. Up. Good. 2 more. 1 more. That's it. Good. Now the second exercise in the complex would be the strength movement, the deadlift. Okay. Good. That's about the best one you've done. Same thing. Don't lift your butt too fast. Better. 2 more. Good. That's it. Good set. Jump deadlifts are very similar to power cleans from the hang. So you lower the bar to your knees, and when you reach your knees, you jump up as high as you can. You don't pull, you keep your arm perfectly straight.
Okay.
You just try to jump as high as possible. Up. Good. Up. Less time at the knees. Jump up as soon as you up. Better. 2 more. Up. Last one. That's it. Much better. So for this one, it's going to be the broad jump, because when you notice, the movement pattern here is hips dominant. It's using your hips. Power clean, deadlift, it's using your hips. So the jump that corresponds to that is the broad jump. So you're going to jump as far forward as you can, and you reset and you jump forward again.
Okay.
Right? You want to reset between each rep. Don't try to jump like this. Jump as far as you can, take time to reset, jump again, take time to reset. We want every jump to be high quality. When you jump, you bring your hips back, and you project yourself forward. And throw your arm forward, because arms contribute 10% of jumping power. Good. Good. That's one. That's it. Good job. The strength endurance portion is going to be the sled push. So you're going to grab the handles with your arms, keep straight, stay fairly low,
Okay.
and really try to extend your leg as far back as possible when pushing. Good. Far back. Good. Extend your knee completely. Good. Very good. So that's the deadlift movement pattern complex.